In most countries around the world, hazard communications is spreading. Compliance to government regulations is one thing, but safety of people is really the primary goal of hazard communications. Canada and the United States are setting the standard for chemical and hazardous material safety. Now there are many other countries which only a few years ago did not pay much attention to chemical safety, but are now developing similar programs. HAZCOM standards have been around for a while, and most organizations are diligent in their training and compliance programs. This program is designed to provide the most updated information about HAZCOM and perhaps identify some of the areas where more work needs to be accomplished. The term Right to Know explains the purpose of the Hazard Communications Program. This right to know information is about chemicals, how they can harm you, and what you should do to keep from experiencing injuries and illnesses related to chemicals and hazardous materials. It's an organizational responsibility, but as with every safety program, each person has an individual responsibility. Individual responsibility in following your organization's policies and procedures and thinking about safety on every task you perform. Let's take a look at the elements of an effective HAZCOM program. A written HAZCOM program includes many elements. Each is extremely important because it's your company's guide to the entire chemical safety program. There must be written policies and procedures relating to all aspects of chemicals and hazardous materials. Your written plan may be somewhat different and more detailed, but basically a good written HAZCOM program contains the following elements. Specific rules relating to the purchase of chemicals is required. This provides a control on the acquisition of hazardous chemicals to assure inventories are commensurate with normal consumption rates and stocks are not stored beyond their usable or safe shelf life. The purchasing procedure should include a current inventory of all chemicals, storage regulations, and disposable procedures. The purchasing department should ensure that all chemicals purchased are provided with MSDSs and assist in obtaining MSDSs when not supplied with chemicals. In some organizations, the purchasing department is responsible for developing a proper storage plan, even though the warehousing department would actually carry out the plan. The storage plan should include proper storage according to their classifications to keep incompatible materials separated. Flammables, oxidizers, corrosives, and toxics should be stored in separate locations. Acids and bases are both corrosive, but react violently when mixed together. Smaller quantities of flammable and combustible materials should be stored in approved flammable storage cabinets. Supervisors and managers are responsible for all hazardous chemicals used within their area of operation. This includes hazardous chemical handling, labeling, storage, transportation, and disposal. A chemical inventory must be maintained. MSDSs must be on hand and readily accessible to all employees. Personal protective equipment and engineering controls must be available and used. Department-level training should be conducted and documented. Hands-on instruction is particularly valuable at the department level. The supervisor should ensure that all accidents, incidents, or exposures involving hazardous chemicals are reported to the HAZCOM coordinator and respective chains of command as required. Hazard Communications Coordinator is the person responsible for coordinating the program. Note we said coordinate. Supervisors and managers are responsible for implementing and maintaining the program. Duties of the coordinator may include providing technical assistance and advice to supervisors and employees regarding the safe chemical handling, storage, and disposal practices. The coordinator may provide training and information for new employees. Duties also include the compilation and maintenance of a master hazardous chemical inventory, which is up to date and current. The coordinator maintains a library of chemical health and safety information and maintains a master MSDS file for chemicals on the inventory. The coordinator reviews and updates the written program as necessary. Many organizations assign the responsibility of training new employees to the HR department. In such cases, procedures for training new employees in hazard communications must be developed and coordinated by the responsible HR or other department. Manufacturers are required to label all hazardous materials with the following items: name and address of the responsible party, identity of the hazardous chemicals, appropriate hazard warnings, MSDSs should be used to verify the information on labels. Labels should not be defaced or removed as long as the container holds material. Repacking or transferring to smaller containers require the new containers to be properly labeled. In this section of the written plan, persons responsible for ensuring labeling of in-plant containers must be identified. Include persons responsible for ensuring labels on shipped containers. The labeling system used must be described in the written plan. There must be a written plan relating to alternatives to labeling of in-plant containers if your organization is using a different labeling system. There must be written procedures for reviewing and updating label information when necessary. Material safety data sheet information is also included in the written plan. This section covers how the material safety data sheet requirements are being met and to make sure you have an MSDS on every chemical in your facility, which is available to all employees. The plan must designate in writing the persons responsible for obtaining and maintaining the material safety data sheets. Included in the procedures are how the data sheets are to be maintained, such as in notebooks, electronically, or if you have different work sites where the MSDS will be stored. There must be procedures on how to retrieve the MSDS electronically and how employees can obtain access to the MSDSs. The written plan must contain procedures to follow when the MSDS is not received at the time of the first shipment and how to obtain the missing MSDS. The written plan must contain detailed information on training and includes written designation of the persons responsible for conducting training. The plan requires that the format of the training be listed, such as workshops, seminars, videos, or other formats. All of the elements of a training program should be listed in the written plan. Procedures must be developed to make sure new employees are trained. Experienced employees receive periodic and updated training as necessary. Employees must be trained when a new hazard is introduced into the workplace. Proper documentation includes who was trained, how they were trained, what information was taught, and verification that the student learned the information that was taught. Written methods to ensure employees are informed of hazards of non-routine tasks and such information as unlabeled piping. There must be written policies and procedures to ensure that anyone working on your site, such as subcontractors or service representatives, are informed of any hazardous materials to which they may be exposed and provide them with appropriate MSDS. Your written program should also explain the procedures if subcontractors come on your site for work and they bring chemicals or hazardous materials with them. They should provide you with their written HAZCOM plan and documentation as well. You're beginning to see this written plan requirement may take some time